kids that are watching. Howdy, howdy, howdy. And the question was, what's the one thing you need to do today to move forward? That I think. And so again, I start with, it's almost like taking responsibility. If you stump your toe, if you take responsibility, you'll watch where you walk. If you don't take responsibility, you're going to stump your toe again. Really simple. So no matter what happened, whether the car hit you and that guy got the ticket, some of that's your fault. Can we agree on that, or do I need to expand on that? Everything that's happening to you, you're drawing to you. You're like this magnet that attracts things to you. Unconsciously or consciously, there's no other choices. You can be asleep and go through it and deal with it, or you can be awake and watch where you're going. It's really easy, but it takes practice to do that. We'll practice over and over and over. I didn't get to be Richard Price said this. I didn't get to be old being a fool. So you have to learn when things come up. It's for you to take a look at it and say, okay, how can this benefit me? Even what you think is negative, even if it's that, I'll never do that. So what you think is negative was beneficial. Or you can be a victim. That's the two choices. So this is just stuff you have to practice as you go through, because we weren't taught this stuff. I wasn't taught this stuff at home, really. That wasn't their job, really. At school, Methodist church. I wasn't taught any of this stuff. Not saying that it was wrong or anything, just didn't happen. So, but I'm learning it now, and so I'm sharing it. And so that is the one thing I think we need to do. Take responsibility of what happens to you. Right? Is that easy enough? Okay, and I can talk a little bit more about that. Any more questions? Maybe? Did you have a question? No. Yes, ma'am.
We talked about, I think we're all interested in our origins, and they're not what we think they are to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a subject that you and I are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
In parlaying that into a question, how do you think that affects our day in and day out lives, subconsciously and consciously?
Okay, the can of worms is open.
In a way that's probably not so beneficial.
So the can of worms is open.
Sorry.
All right. So originally, where are we from? Right? Africa? Good start.
I don't know. You know what I'm going to say.
Let's hear it.
Let's just say highly evolved races came here and
Okay.
their DNA with Neanderthal.
Okay.
But the Neanderthal came from Africa.
Yeah, right. So what he is saying, he is going even further back. Right. So if you don't know where you're from, you're pretty much, I don't want to say you're lost, but you're lost. Because you don't know what got you here, right? I know what got me here right now. I read a lot. I studied a lot. I did a lots of conferences and workshops. So that got me here, right? So I know how I got here. So I kind of know where I'm going. If you just think that, I woke up and I'm a human, then your whole life is pointed in this way, like I just woke up, here's what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing. But really, lots of things happened before you got here. Before you woke up and called yourself a human being. Lots of things were going on before. So we have something we call a spirit or a soul that you can't really see with your eyes. You can't taste it. You can't touch it. Can't smell it. But we believe it. We believe in it. Right? So there's something greater than us that we need to be aware of. Right? Something that we always say, oh, we're created, God created us in his own image. What image is that? Right? A lot of us say, well, God created the world. So if you're in his image, you can create the world. Right? Some people got to make that leap. Right? But there's lots of things that happen to this earth that we need to know about. Right? How many people can guess how long this earth has been going? Guess? Take a guess. It's more than 2,000 years before Jesus. Okay, billions.
More than 4 billion.
Right. Billions is a good number for the earth itself. And then how long ago has kind of people been here? Guess?
250,000.
Okay, 250,000 is a good number. I'm sure there's stuff happened before that. I don't connect to that as yet. So I can go as far back as 250,000 years, maybe a little more. When what we call the descent of man or the Lucifer rebellion is known as. But I know that word, right? Lucifer, we heard that word. But we didn't really hear all the stuff that went on with that word. Somebody just said, hey, Lucifer, he's bad, don't believe it, boom. Let's go on. So there are things that happened back then that have us where we are right now. And to put it in a nutshell, it's like back then they revolted against the government. Put it in a nutshell. The government being higher source, spirit, higher consciousness, whatever it is. And they decided, I can't see you, I can't touch you, so I'm not going to believe you, and I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to call myself God and run these planets. Right? And so that is what is called the fall of man. where we were connected before, we knew all the information, we could connect to our sun and to the central sun and get information. So we could do that. Right? We could do that. And so you can consider that like libraries. Our sun is a library, has lots of information, it beams us information all the time. And that information is connected to a central sun, which is a bigger library. So at some point in time, we were connected to all of the information. And the fall just meant we were no longer directly connected. You can't not be connected. But so we were veiled at a certain point. I can't see it. I don't know it's there. And so that's how this we were born in sin kind of stuff happens. Which is, in my opinion, not the truth. Right? So we were connected to all this information, so now we're not. But really we are. We just now have to find our way back, and we have to say, I want to connect back to my spirit connection, my soul connection, my God connection, consciously. Like when you're awake. When you're sleeping, off you go, you're connected. You're I want to start using the word connect, because you're always connected. When you go to sleep, off you go traveling on your other lives. When you wake up, your attention is back here. Right? So we all have all this stuff. And so we have to know that information. That we were connected before, and somehow we're not now. Right? So there are people that don't want us to be connected because they want us to be subservient to them. And there are people that want that information. And so that's why we have chemtrails. Right? Everybody know what chemtrails are. these planes go out and shoot out all these chemicals, right? Everywhere, almost like it's normal now, and it's not normal. I saw a comic book, a children's comic book, with chemtrails all over the sky. It's like, it's normal. It's not normal. And so what's happening is they spit out all these chemicals and microbiotes, for lack of a better word. You'll see the sky will be perfectly blue. You're getting all the sun you want. And all of a sudden, these trails will come, and then somebody, you can see the haze. What they're doing is they're blocking information because you're getting information from the libraries. And they know this. And so that's why we have chemtrails and stuff. So that the downtrodden will be affected. If you are in good health and working out and you're thinking good, then those things don't affect you. Because you're like, I'm in control of my deal. But for those who are lackadaisical and stuff, then it affects you, kind of bonks you down and stuff. Right? So just to be known, yes.
Who is they?
They,
Who could possibly care enough or be powerful enough to do these things?
All right.
okay, so all right, let me go back on. Good question. So who are they? So from your premises, you're thinking like we're the only ones.
No,
Like
I think we're the only
okay.
ones. I think it's a loving universe, and there's nobody out there that has a conspiracy against us. It's all about love. We're just separate from love. That's all.
Right. So, have you heard of? So you're dealing. I have dealt with off-planet energies,
I can't believe they would be evil. How could they
and it's okay, and that's a good place to be, right? Yet, there's some people that are at a higher dimension, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, who are highly conscious and are good, and there's some people that just are not. So here on Earth, we have people that are good and people that are not so good. Why would that not carry over? We say, as above, so below. Whatever is happening here is happening there, right? Everything. So this is just a video of what's happening inside, what you see outside. And so, not that these people are bad, the consciousness isn't high enough where they would decide, I'm not going to do this, or it will come back on me, right? But they are energies that do that. And so those energies kind of run around what we call like the fourth dimension, where all thoughts go to live. Abraham calls it the spin-off of man's conscious thought. Everything that you've ever thought, that has ever been thought, in both directions, is stored in this place. All the potentials are stored in this place. And so people get to play with those that are on a little higher consciousness level than we are. And so it's not that they're bad, they just don't know any better. All right, so they're the Zeta Reticulans, okay? At some point, they thought, okay, we're dying out, and so we want to prolong our life by coming to a place and experimenting with those people so that we can prolong our life. That was the thought pattern. That was like us thinking, the year 2012 is the end of the world. So before that, we start doing crazy things because we think it's the end of the world. Truly, it wasn't the end of the world for them. It was just they're moving up. You think it's the end, but it's not the end. You're moving up. You're growing. Right? And so they did certain things to us as human beings. Some of those are biological entities. Somebody created them. Right? So really, if you have no emotion, you don't know that when you take that lady's kid, she's going to bawl and cry and do everything to knock you off. They don't feel that because they're biological. So somebody was able to create those, right? So some people call those the Anunnaki. And so they have lots of, and these are highly conscious beings that decided I'm going to create these things, right? So again, so now we have to define what we call God. Is God the person that created us? Or is God the person that created all that is? So I have to differentiate between God and prime creator. I use prime creator a lot now, and I'll replace that word. Because if you tell somebody about God here, they already have a connotation of what this man is, this woman is, this energy is that created us. In my term, that's a creator God. They have the power and the knowledge to create these things. That's possible, right? Easy way to explain that is look at the cell phone. Back in my day, I was born a little while back, right? Our phone we didn't even have a phone. Sorry. And our radio, we call it radio fusion. It was this big, and it hung on the wall. And we turned it on, and we listened, and it went off at a certain time. Everything was dead. Right? Look at your phone now. Your phone replaces that thing. Right? I used to be a DJ. I'm still a DJ. I don't do it a lot anymore. I have crates and crates and crates of albums. Really good stuff, right? Whereas when you go play out, you got to carry all these, I'm talking milk cartons, and there were cartons this long of records. Now it all fits on my cell phone. On my cell phone within 20 years, 30 years. Now think what will be going on in 100 years, 300 years from now, 5,000 years from now, right? And so there are energies that are already doing that already have all this knowledge, already did all this stuff, right? And so there are people that can do those things. Not everybody will do that, but there are people that, as above, so below. So, just say don't even want to go there. Okay, your question, it'll come up later.
I just was going to ask you to maybe comment on how fear plays into the kinds of things you're talking about. Because in reality, while I'm very open-minded to the idea that, these kind of creator gods, meaning people from other locations, I'm actually, it all makes pretty good sense to me, especially with the way our wording has been through my more traditional religious upbringing. It ties in very neatly and makes good sense. But fear is a big factor in how people respond to that.
Most definitely.
I'm not afraid of it.
Right. Exactly.
So maybe
fear.
say something to that.
So, fear. In my experience, and this is my perspective, there are only two things. There's love and there's fear. And then everything else is broken down under those two. If you love something, you act a certain way. Things really seem to work out. If you fear it, then things don't seem to work out. And things go a certain way. Everything is based on, if you love something, you're going to do it forever and ever and ever. If you fear something, then you're going to do it forever and ever and ever. But really, fear doesn't exist. Right? Love exists. And when you don't think about love, then we call it fear. But it doesn't exist. It's like some people are sitting here right now, not necessarily in where we are, and they're thinking, there was a storm last month, right? Which is a fact. And then there's a storm next month. Oh my God! Which doesn't even exist. So we are fearing something that doesn't even exist. Right? So I'm not saying the storm won't come. I'm just saying that's how we think. Some people don't go outside because the fear of I'm going to get hurt or whatever, for whatever reason. But love is, if you didn't get love, when you were growing up, you know, your parents didn't hug you or tell you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, like a lot of us, then in your life, when you feel some love or something, what you're going to do? Try to control that thing. I want it. This is mine. Which is fear. Fear of not having this love. Right? So that fear drives your whole life. Right? So fear really, it doesn't, I'm not going to say it because everything exists. It's not beneficial. It's not beneficial to you. Right? When you have certain, okay, let's go to the energy portion of it. When you're in love, you're like, oh, I can fly. Woo, this is some good stuff. That's a certain energy that goes out and creates more. Or you could be like, that son of a gun. Feel the energy of that one. It's not that one is good or bad. What does that do to you? This fear, what does that do to you? You don't want to jump. This came to me this week. I can't cuss. Because sometimes they use words just like we use words. I just try to make it nice and easy. And they're like, effing jump, dude, jump. What are you afraid of? Most of us don't even want to jump. And they said, don't jump. Let me get this right. Don't jump, because you want to fall. This ain't coming out right. But jump so you can get up. Jump so you can get up. Right? Something, I want to jump. Oh, I'm scared. And you do nothing. Because you're afraid of something that hasn't even happened yet. So fear is not beneficial. Not saying it's right or wrong, it doesn't exist or not. It's not beneficial to you. If you say, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, right? I want to be good, I want to do the best, I want to be of service, fear doesn't help you. Fear will only take you off your path. Right? It is there, and fear is a good thing. When you're born, you're fearful of the edge. That's a good thing. Like, okay, let me be aware. Right? If you're fear is like, okay, I'm in your face. Let's go through it. That's the goodness of fear. What's coming up that I'm fearful of? You need to look at it. That's why it's there, so you can look at it. If it never came up, how you gonna fix it? Most people see fear and then they go this way. And then what does fear do? Like, why? Because it's yours. You can't get away from it. Wherever you go, there you are. Wherever you go, it follows you because it's yours. You can't get away. You can't get around it. Only way is through it. When you look at it and you look at why it's there, well, I hate because I didn't get love. Okay, all right, so let me move forward. So let me start working on myself first. All these fears, work on yourself. You have to work on yourself first. That's one of those things that if I had one thing to talk about, that's it as well. You have to work on yourself. You really can't work on anybody else. Because they have to say, I did that. And if I did that, then, I can fix that. Every single person has to do that. I can give you all my love. If you don't know nothing about it, you don't know nothing about it. It goes right over your head. We can sit in the healing chairs and share energy with you. And if you don't say, I believe this, I can feel it, I want this, it's going to be beneficial, nothing happens for you. So again, it's all on you. It's all on you. You got to work on yourself. Nobody can do it for you. My first lecture here, I talked about the sandbox. Right? Everybody heard this one? Not so good. Sometimes I think I'm saying the same thing over and over and over and over. So the sandbox. This is your whole life. Everybody has a sandbox. Every single person you know has a sandbox. And everybody's creating in their sandbox. I bring up castles, right? Because I'm creating this castle in my sandbox. You're creating a castle in your sandbox. Everybody is. And my castles have round walls and you know, small doors, and yours has something different. I look at yours and I'm like, okay, I like that door, so I'm going to incorporate that door in my sandbox. And so, okay, yeah, I start doing my sandbox. You didn't do that for me. You did something. I was influenced by it, but I did it. And you doing yours. And nobody can come in and play in your sandbox. And this is a free will section. They can't even do it if they want to. That's why angels don't come down and like, oh, boom, it's fixed. It's over. Because you have to ask, you have to say, Archangel Michael, can you assist me in this endeavor I'm moving forward with? Archangel Raphael, Gabriel, Metatron. You have to ask. Which means you're working on you. You don't ask for other people, you ask for you. So you got to work on you. Right? Bottom line, and nobody else can do it for you. If you create it, you can fix it. That's where we all got to get to. Right? My dilemma now is more information is about, you know, the government. Right? I served 12 years. Right? But it's there are some people that don't have your best interests in mind. Even right here. I'm not even talking anywhere else yet. Just right here. But that's not a problem. That you should be saying like, well, you don't care about me. Okay, cool. I care about myself, so I'm going to do this. Instead of waiting for somebody to throw stuff at you. No, we all can say, I'm going to be healthy. Today I'm going to start. I want to be positive. I'm going to start today. I don't care what anybody says. I forgot what Jesus says. You can be in it, but not of it, or something like that.
In the world, but not of the world.
In the world, but not of the world. So you're in the midst of chaos, yet you are perfectly fine because you want to be perfectly fine. You know your power is to be perfectly fine, and you have it in you to be perfectly fine. Everybody needs to know that. You have the power. You were born with everything you will ever need. You were born with it. You weren't born with clothes. You weren't born with a school. You weren't, no, right? But you were born with everything you ever needed, and it's right here. It's right here. I mean, you have to say, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And if you say it long enough, when you open your eyes, you're gone past. It's in the background already. Everybody has to do that. You know? Children do that. They're like, I want to play. I'm playing. I want to fight. I'm fighting. 2 minutes later, I want to play. We don't do that. We're like, I'm fighting. I'm mad for 10 years. Right? I'm carrying this baggage for 10 years. Like it's going to affect that person or something. It does not affect that person, the baggage you're carrying. That's why you got to find the goodness in whatever it is, whatever drama you went through in your life. You got to find the good part of it, whether it's a lesson that makes you grow, or you can take it as you're a victim and then you roll with the flow of whatever it is. It's really easy. But we were born with the power to think. And with the power to think, you can create. The chairs you're sitting on, somebody thought about that before they came here. Before they made them. Every single thing. They thought about it, and then boom, went through the paces, and here it is. Everybody can do that. Even without clothes, and and that gets to me sometimes. You got to dress a certain way to come to church, and it never really rubbed me right. Right? I'm at the store, well, should I eat or should I buy a tie? That shouldn't even be a question. Right? So there are certain things that you just got to be aware of. Some people are not out for your best interest, which is okay. You should be. You should be. So I'm not mad at the government. I'm thankful. Oh, thank you for letting me know you're not going to take care of me. Which means, okay, I'm starting to take care of myself. That's how you have to look at it. Everything starts with you. Every single thing starts with you. So there's higher consciousness are here to help us. There's okay, I'm going to end this here. So I get all this information, and it's like so much is like, I can't spit it out fast enough, right? Who thinks a monkey turned into a human?
There's some relation.
There is some relation, yes.
We're 1 degree away from monkeys,
Right,
but we're only 4 degrees away from a banana.
right.
So-
Right. And that's a lot of degrees, 1 and 4,
Yeah.
right? And so a lot of people think, oh, we were a monkey, we grew up to be a human being. And so in actuality, that is correct. But it comes with some tweaking. It came with some tweaking. Tweaking of your DNA. Right? I can talk about that for another 10 hours too. DNA. That's how you got to where you are with your DNA. Right? So somebody came in for lack of time and said, okay, here's their DNA. I'm going to inject something into their DNA. And they have 12 strands. And I'm going to put a block. Think of it as software. I'm going to put a block here so they can only use C2. Or 2 are working. So you are an individual with 12 strands of DNA, and you're only working with 2. So somebody came in and tweaked us. And that's how we got to where we are. Right? And we're talking about off-planet or origins. Once we start working with DNA, 12-strand DNA, you're going to find out that there's lots of energies from higher consciousnesses that is in your DNA. Arcturian, Pleiadian, Orion, Sirians. There's a list of them. So when people says, are you alien? Yes, I am. Thank you. Because all that information is within you. That's why I said you were born with everything you needed. You need. Right? Heard of Sai Baba? He could meditate and create stuff out of nothing. Bread, water. Right? So he was born like us. He just had information that we were blocking out or blocked out for us. So again, you were born with all this stuff, because even Tesla, you heard that name. He wanted to go for the free energy whereas all this energy in between us we call space is energy, and we can draw from it. And we can run our house with it. And some people don't want that. They don't want you to know that. Why? Because then no more money in their pockets. You don't have to plug into the grid and pay to get electricity. So he got shut down. So there are some people that don't want that to come out. But again, if you sit quiet and meditate and relax, guess what? You can plug into, we call it the Akash. You can plug into the Akash and get that information. Because everything is recorded. Every single thing you've done has been recorded. Everything that everybody else has ever done has been recorded. That's why when you meditate and there's some kids that come in and young and they can open their eyes and play like a 100-year-old. They've been planning it for that long. Right? Everybody has that. And then you have your Akash as an individual. And then the earth has its Akash as an individual. And then there's group Akash and there's galactic. Really, it's just information. It's just information if you want to break it down. It's just information. And you, right now, wherever you are, small or large, has access to that information. You just got to shut off the stuff that we think every day. Meditation is a good way to get into that space. Meditation is so that you can shut down this brain thing, which is just information you've gathered your whole time. That is, that's its job, is to feed you stuff. You just have to shut that down, and then you'll hear yourself. People say, well, I hear guides, or I hear angels, or I hear God. That's you're hearing, because you're not separate from it. Right? When you were born, you came into the body. Part of your soul is in here. The other part is all around, And so what you're thinking is a guide is another version of you. What you're thinking is angels is another version of you. So really, you're talking to yourself as you're praying and asking. That should be what you're doing, not technically to God, because that energy works through you. You don't say, God, do this for me, and he's like, whoop, I do that for you. You say, God, help me do this, and he's already helping. The energy is knocking at the door. You just got to be open to it. Yes.
Okay, so how does that, because this is a question that I've mulled over over and over lots of times.
Mm-hmm.
How does individual personal identity
Mm-hmm.
then,
Mm-hmm.
how does, let me see if I can word this in a better way. So, we think of things in terms of I've experienced some past life in a hypnosis session or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know that that's our personal identity? How do we separate ourselves like we do right here sitting in this room? Or if it's not just an Akashic kind of download from, which could be anybody's life at any given time. So where do you separate sort of that wholeness, that oneness from the individual identity that, it was even talked about in the spiritualist church as we believe in the continuation of, this personal identity.
At some point, I got to finish with this one,
I'm sorry.
and I can talk later. At some point, you have to, division is the word. You have to not be divided. Like, saying you're a woman, you're first division. I'm a woman, so all these connotations about women. Oh, I'm a man, all these connotations. You have to realize that I'm both of those things. So we need to get away from division, right? Women do this and men do this. Everybody can do everything. So that's the thing we need to get away from, right? Division. It's new. It's tough because we've never been taught this stuff. But I'm dealing with that. Whereas if I think, what? I'm a man, so if I say I'm a man, that means I'm saying I'm not a woman, and I'm negating something on this side of part of me. And so I have to reconcile all these things as me. I have to reconcile the group of Kosh as me. It's all of us. Right? When you're born, you're separated. I was going to get to this one. Whereas you have your guides, and then you have your potentials, that what you could be or could do, which is connected to everybody else's. And so really there shouldn't be a separation. We got to start getting that thinking down. We got to stop separating man, woman, right, wrong. If you get to the tiniest particle, positive and negative are in there, we get to choose one. There's not a whole bunch of negative or a whole bunch of positive. There's not a dark switch and a light switch. Let me turn on the dark switch. You got to get to the point where both of those things are the same. And then I get to choose what I want to do. I don't know what you want to do this time. I don't know what you were doing, quote unquote, the last time or what. So I can't even really speak to that for you. But we have to, at some point, put all these things together. So, because if I thought that I'm a man and I'm a woman, then I am not going to hurt women because I know that's kind of hurting myself. I divided and said I'm a man, so when I go and I start playing games with women, I'm thinking I'm not part of, I'm not, that's not part of me. Or dropping bombs. I can drop a bomb over there because I think you're separate. And I can do all that because it's not going to come back on me. We got to start being like, you know what? He goes to the bathroom like me. He bleeds like me, so he feels like me. If I kill his parents, then, I know how I would feel if my parents were killed. So we have to think, we have to bring all this stuff as one. We have to do that. That's going to be the next step. Otherwise, we're on the wheel. That's getting off the wheel. When we decide everything is one, then we're going to step off the wheel of round and around and happening. But we got to start with that. So I really went over my boundaries. So if you want to speak to me after, but I hope I brought up something that makes you want to go home and do some research. Do your own research. This is my story I'm sharing with you. Thank you for letting me run my mouth.